right. So, law enforcement and the judicial system has used the term mentally ill very loosely to basically pretend that I'm not intelligent when it suits them. But if you were going to do that, you're going to pretend that somebody is not intelligent because they are disabled. Then you need to allow them the rights of a disabled person. But they deny me the rights of a disabled person by saying that I'm intelligent when it suits them. By illegally preventing me from speaking on my own behalf, by illegally preventing me from showing evidence, by illegally incarcerating me for crimes that I didn't commit, I was forced into a situation that nobody should be forced into. Meanwhile, I'm not sure if you guys understand this, but when people accuse you of heinous crimes that you did not commit, especially when it comes to rape and child molestation, people can know 100% beyond any shadow of a doubt that you're innocent, but they don't want their name associated with yours until your court date about that is over, until you have been cleared. You could have 500 other court dates that these people are willing to speak up at, but they're not going to speak up until that very first situation is taken care of. And that's the problem with all of this. Alicia Bollinger and Natalie Bollinger lied in Virginia. They claimed that I stalked them. They claimed that I threatened their family. Two things that are an outright lie. Now, the courts want to pretend that none of this ever happened. The police have illegally prevented me from making police reports, from showing the things that I needed to do, from having the resources that I needed to do that. And until recently, I haven't had a place to work. Now, the two things that I needed most when Natalie was killed, I needed literally what I have now, and I needed an advocate. Instead, they did everything in their power to deny me those rights, to deny me those things, to make sure that all of my money was spent going from court date to court date to court date. Nobody gave a fuck about my safety. Nobody gave a fuck about my rights. They still fucking don't. Making excuse after excuse after excuse why they can't tell the fucking truth. That's why I need a fucking advocate. I shouldn't have had to go to all of these other people. See, here's the thing. It doesn't matter how much goddamn evidence that you have if the public pretenders aren't going to do their fucking jobs. There was plenty of fucking evidence that showed that those fucking pigs lied, and my public pretenders wouldn't do a goddamn thing. Them not doing their jobs put me at further fucking risk. Just like the cops not doing their fucking jobs and doing everything in their fucking power to hide their fucking crimes. But it's legal, isn't it? It's legal for a police officer to do that. Now, let me tell you what this is like. All right? Let's say you're walking through a neighborhood, right? You get harassed by some cops. You're getting harassed by the cops because it's a white neighborhood and somebody made a call about a black person. And they victimize you for being a black person in a white neighborhood. But then when you go to court and you say, hey, these guys victimized me because I'm black. They violated my human rights and my civil rights. And then they go, no, he's white. He's obviously white. He's white. Magically, he's white because him being black, well, if he was black in that scenario, then it would screw them over because they were racist assholes. See, they harassed him because he is black, but then they couldn't harass him because he's not black magically. You keep changing the rules, changing the criteria whenever it benefits you. Or imagine that black man getting beaten down, getting harassed, getting threatened because of the color of his skin. And when he goes in to try to turn in the police, he has to go in by himself. And they beat him down and then they send him out of jurisdiction to a mental hospital. Because if he's in a mental hospital, then it makes him look crazy. Fuck this goddamn country. My rights were violated because there was nobody there with me to stop them. Now, there are cases where I've shown you how I am treated when I am alone versus when there is somebody there. In Virginia, if Moose hadn't come out of the house, they would have shipped me off to a fucking nuthatch. I need help. I don't need a fucking therapist. You know what a therapist does? Wastes your time and your goddamn money. Some of you may get some benefit out of a fucking therapist, but the fact is, I don't. A therapist isn't gonna fucking help me. A fucking lawyer. That's what I fucking need. Fuck all of you. The term mentally ill makes someone a target. It makes them a victim when they are by themselves. They literally need someone in their corner who gives a fuck about their rights, not someone who's going to make excuses. I'm mentally ill only when it benefits them. I'm disabled only when it benefits them. And I'm intelligent only when it benefits them. Fuck this goddamn country. Then there's the idea that autism means you're mentally fucking retarded. You don't want to learn anything about autism, but you want to sure as fuck punish people for being autistic. They must have chose it. Most of the reactions that you see out of high functioning autistic people, they are reactions to abuse, reactions to being in a nation that doesn't give a fuck about them. Now, you guys want to play and pretend. When it all comes down to it, yeah, without somebody in your corner, you fucking don't have shit. It's okay to victimize you. You must have wanted it, needed it, chose it, or deserved it. I was literally screaming at the top of my lungs for help. The lies that were told by the Bollinger family and by law enforcement across this fucking country. Across the country. See, here's the thing. When you are charged with felony assault against a police officer, and that's on your arrest record, police officers treat you like shit. Thank goodness for Dallas. Thank goodness for getting my computer back so that I can record these situations with the police. How they keep on changing the rules. One officer tells me one thing and another officer tells me another. And because of my disabilities, I can't do the things that they ask. I need help. But because I am intelligent, they deny me that help. Hundreds of phone calls, hundreds of different places that I called that all send me to somebody else. I need someone to sit with me and help me to do this shit. I make videos because I am too overwhelmed to go through all of this shit again. To recollect all of this evidence again. Because police refused outright repeatedly. I have the tag of mentally ill over my head. So no matter what I say, no matter what evidence that I have to show, they're never going to look at it unless there's someone in my corner, actually in my corner. Not pretty fucking words on Facebook. Not, oh, I'm sorry. And surely not a fucking goddamn sandwich. I was slandered in every fucking court date that I had. Now you guys can tell the conversations between me and Rihanna. Yeah, she admitted it. She also admitted how the cops are there. And then there's Amy Kalina Kingery, who took advantage of my situation and then wanted to pretend like I had done bad things as her excuse for her theft. See, here's the thing, is that on the one hand, yeah, Amy Spencer did that. But on the other hand, I was forced into that situation by the volunteers and by bad cops. I was forced into those situations by the volunteers and the bad cops. I almost had my own place, that place that I was staying at. That was almost my place. Megan Christie owned it. I just needed to save up the money for it. I was either going to buy that place or a place in San Juan County in Colorado. Natalie's death destroyed any chance of that. The thing is that I need an autism advocate there in court to testify for a reason. It won't take long with somebody up on the stand explaining the situation, somebody who isn't me because they're not going to listen to me. But it won't take long with someone on the stand who's educated on autism to explain how badly these people fucked up. If the law is wrong, it is your duty as an American to break it. If it's okay to do these things to anyone that you call mentally ill, then it's okay to do it to you. If it's okay to harm black people in this way, it's okay to do it to you. If it's okay to harm women in this way, it's okay to harm you. Right now, we're getting sucked into a poverty vacuum. Poverty vacuum created by giving the rich people all of the power, allowing them to use your money, to bail out their corporate buddies. Meanwhile, the most victimized people in America, those are your targets. You use them when they're kids. The most victimized people in America are children in the foster care system and former foster children. Those are the most victimized people in America, bar none. These people encompass every racial and social class, every religious group. Some of these kids are white, some of them are black, some of them are immigrants, some of them are male, some of them are female, some of them are Christians, some of them are Muslims or Jews, some of them are Buddhist, some of them are atheist. What do they all have in common? They have no rights. And when they turn 18, they're going to be victimized. They're going to be charged with crimes that should not be crimes, like sleeping outside with a blanket. Most homeless people, you know what their first charge is? Camping. Because they're homeless and because they have to sleep, they're fined. Hello? Hello? This is Sean. Hello? Hello, McFly. Hello? So there's all these people with decent families that want to tell me what I need to do, how I need to think, how I need to feel. That's pretty fucking ignorant. I got upper middle class white people who never had to actually struggle telling me how I need to think and how to feel. I got people that I went to school with that their mommy and daddy bought them everything, and they tell me about how they did it all themselves. And if they can do it all themselves, I should be able to. Meanwhile, they didn't have to go without a vehicle. They weren't busy feeding their siblings in high school. And sure, they got a summer job, and that's nice. It teaches them responsibility, right? No, it doesn't. Having a job does not teach you responsibility, especially not when you're going out and spending your hard-earned work money to get drunk, to get fucked up. How did they put it? This town. Chase bitches. That's what they say. No, responsibility is paying rent. Responsibility is taking care of yourself and taking care of your family. And a lot of people use that as their excuse not to come forward, not to tell the truth. My family, my family, my family. Dude, your family's good. They're gravy. They really are. I saw Rick Martindale yesterday. Now, nearly every time that I walk by his house, I stick my finger up at the house. If he's outside, I stick my finger up at him. Yesterday, I stuck my finger up at him and he waved at me. Not a fuck you kind of wave. And I'm sure you guys all know what that is. Like, oh yeah, that dude's flipping me off. Fuck you, asshole. No, he waved at me. I screamed across the street at him. I said, I'm gonna stop flipping you off. And I mean it. I'm not gonna flip his house off anymore. I'm not gonna flip him off anymore. I'm not gonna go over there and talk to him. But I'm not gonna flip him off anymore. Part of the reason for having someone go in there with me, I literally, just between myself and the whole Jamie situation, like that's something that I should have turned into the police. Obviously, she's turned stuff into the police, and it's fine for her. But if I do it, I'm a snitch. Blah, blah, blah. Same bullshit that I had to deal with fucking Natalie and fucking her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, and all that fucking shit. It's all right for them to call the cops. It's not all right for me. The rules keep changing depending on who it is. The rules for me are different than they are for you, and you want it that way. You don't want to be judged the way that you judge me. And when I judge you back the way that you judge me, you bleed all sorts out your mangina. What a bunch of fucking pieces of shit. I have remained in a constant state of panic because the courts have kept me in a constant state of panic. Nobody is going to defend me, so I have to defend myself without the resources to do so. Even now, it's going to take me probably 2 or 3 months just to get back to what I had before Natalie died. Several months. And then it'll take me several months beyond that to be able to go through all of this stuff and get it organized enough to actually take these son of a bitches to court. These people manipulated the limits of the law and outright broke the law repeatedly in order to run down the clock. And I tried explaining to everybody this. All these people who are like, well, I don't like the way that you talk to me. Bitch, you don't like the way I fucking talk to you? When I talk to you like a human being and I let you know what's up, you don't fucking hear me. You don't fucking hear me. You blow me off and brush me off There's a limited amount of time to do these things in, and it all takes resources that were taken away from me. In order to take Waylon Lolatai to court for the assault against me, I need the resources that were taken away from me because he assaulted me. And I haven't had those resources back. I just got my disability back. I just got my housing back. If I'd have had those things and been allowed to utilize those things when Natalie was fucking killed, my housing and my disability money, if I'd have been able to use those things when Natalie was killed, I could have had a safe place where I didn't have to move around from place to place to place to place, being fucking victimized by the police, by the fucking public, by the volunteer family and their friends over fucking slander that I was never allowed to defend myself against. And then there is slander in every single one of my court cases. Every single one. And I can prove that I was slandered in every single one of my court cases. But no, I actually can't prove it. Why? Because I'm not allowed to speak. I'm not allowed to show evidence. The rules change depending on who it is. You call them mentally ill, obviously they shouldn't have the rights to the Constitution. You call them intelligent, and obviously they're intelligent. They shouldn't have the rights of someone who's disabled. Sean, you need to do it on your own. All these people with good families, especially, definitely not doing it on their own. People not doing it on their own telling me I need to do it on my own. Meanwhile, I need help. There is too much to go through. And as far as trying to fill out stuff on the internet when it comes to these police websites, there's at least 3 witnesses right here on my YouTube that I recorded that speak about how difficult it is to get the police to do their goddamn jobs. One of the ladies at the Starbucks in Washington State cried while she was on the phone with the cops because they just wouldn't do anything. Those thefts, they're on here on this YouTube. The people involved are on this YouTube. When you call somebody mentally ill, they need to have an advocate assigned immediately. I don't mean a public pretender. I mean someone to protect their rights as a human being so that they don't have to go through this. I'm going to tell you about a roll through. You know what a roll through is? That's what I've become, by the way. I'll tell you about one of the roll throughs in Boulder, Colorado. His name is Zach Boatman. Zach Boatman actually is schizophrenic. They won't help him. They won't help him with housing. They won't help him to get off the streets. And the longer he's out there on the streets, the more mental he fucking gets. So when they need some more money, want some more money, they go through and they do a sweep. And during the sweeps, the ones that they want to go after are the ones with the tag of mentally ill because those people can't defend themselves. Zach Boatman can't fucking defend himself in court. Are you fucking kidding me? Public pretenders aren't going to fucking defend him either. They're just going to roll him through the jail. And it makes them some money. When the jail gets down below 90% capacity, it's time to do a sweep. Do your homeless sweeps. You try to find the ones that are considered mentally ill because they're the easiest ones to railroad. And that's what they've done to me. With Zach Boatman, he's probably been in the Boulder County Jail at least, at least 30 times just since I've known him. He is mentally disabled. Not in the same way as me, though. He's schizophrenic. Now, when I go to the doctors, when I go to the police to try to show them what's going on, especially with other police officers, they try to have me committed for trying to show that evidence. Then I explain to the doctors that I was committed to their hospital for trying to turn in evidence. Sorry, not the doctors. The doctors don't see the patients in most of these places. But I try to explain to them, hey, I'm here because I tried turning in bad officers. And they automatically treat you like you're crazy because obviously no officer would do anything wrong, and you are the one with the tag of mentally ill. Meanwhile, you've got evidence that's sitting in a closet locked up 30 feet from where you are while you're talking to these medical professionals. You say, hey, this officer did something bad and I can prove it. It's in your closet. And then they treat you how? Like you're crazy because you're telling on bad cops. Obviously, a police officer wouldn't break the law. Obviously, those two officers who murdered that man in Boulder didn't break the law. They're in prison for it. Cops do break the law. They break the law every day. That's why you need to be able to record it. That's why you need somebody there in person with you. Those of you who live in houses who want to talk about how great the fucking cops are, let me tell you something. There were probably a lot of white people in Alabama in the 1960s who thought the cops were doing a great fucking job. There's also, between Alabama and Mississippi, there's still over 100 civil rights activists that have not been found because of those good cops who would never do anything wrong. Some of them took part in the murders of civil rights activists. Some of them took part in covering up the murders of civil rights activists. But it's okay because they're nice to the white people who live there. And that's what we're dealing with today. We made it illegal to go after black people like that. And people still do it. But then they have a legal defense against that now. Homeless people don't. Those who are considered mentally ill don't. Now, what's the difference between the homeless and those considered mentally ill? The homeless are fucked no matter what. Whereas those considered mentally ill, if they're mentally ill in an upper middle class family, then the things that were done to me aren't going to happen to them. The police aren't going to get away with those things. The police know that they're not going to be able to get away with those things. The police know that an upper middle class family is probably going to have the financial ability to hire a real lawyer. Now, through all of this, people have blamed me, saying that I asked for it. Like the shit that Candace pulled, claiming that I asked for it. I can prove in these situations, every one of them, that I was trying to do the right thing. Every bit of this, I can prove that I was worried about not just myself, but others. And people say, you just need to focus on yourself. No, absolutely not. That's omitting evidence. See, that's what's wrong with America today. There used to be a time where somebody would come fuck with your neighbor. You'd come out of your house with a shotgun and say, hey, you need to go away. You need to leave my neighbor alone. You need to leave this whole neighborhood alone. We don't want trouble. There used to be a time that people actually knew their neighbor's names. There used to be a time in America, apparently from what I hear, because I was not alive back then, that people were willing to lay down their lives for the Constitution of the United States. Can you imagine that? I know today it's a far stretch. We got kids joining the military to go kill people in foreign countries for oil. And we're talking about poor countries, third world countries. That's who we pick on. But somebody who's autistic obviously must be retarded, right? Fuck no, I'm more intelligent than most. In this town, there is a guy named Chris who has the exact same IQ as me. You know what's funny? His little sister's smarter than both of us. And boy, would I like to have her help. But she's a farm wife in Kansas. She's also never done me wrong. He's actually got two sisters, and both of them are pretty smart. The fact is that these people use the term mentally ill as an excuse to victimize me. And not just as an excuse to victimize me, but as validation to continue to victimize me. Fuck this goddamn country.